We can have the official start now. So I am recording the webinar just for everybody to know, so we can have this content for later to post on our website and put in emails and all of that. We wanted to host this webinar today really to start as a series of webinars for informational purposes with our Synchrony program, Freedom to Ride. And we have a couple representatives that we work with at Synchrony that are going to be running this webinar in particular. We're going to be covering two topics, but it's really important that all the members know who these people are, because if you have issues with your accounts or if you have any problems at all, it's very likely that you're either going to be talking to Eric or Sonia. So they're on the call right now. The two topics that we're going to be reviewing today, the first is going over the new application process, which you've likely already seen when you're in the business center. We've been promoting the mobile apply for a long time, the ftrapply.com way to apply. However, this new way of applying is definitely the way to go over ftrapply.com. And I know Eric's going to go over the reasons why, and he'll also show you a quick demo of how that process works. And then the second topic is going to be reviewing the Synchrony Home Network. Because you're a member of the Bike Cooperative, which is a member of CCA Global Partners, our relationship with Synchrony makes it so that you are also a part of the Synchrony Home Network, which has thousands of cardholders across the country. And so they'll be able to go into a little bit more detail about what that means and what the benefits are to you. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Eric and let me take over.
Awesome. Can you hear me? Are we all good here? Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to come on today and talk through those two topics, as well as anything that any of the participants may have as far as questions go. I would encourage any of the participants, if they can come off mute and want to ask questions, then please by all means do. If not, I'll just keep on rolling through some topics. So before we jump into the topics, I wanted to do introductions for myself and Sonia, just so everybody that's on the phone would know and who we are. And I'm also going to share some information here real quick. Let me know when you can see my screen. So you should see some contact information on the screen for support here shortly. Can you see that, Lacey?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay. So Sonia, can you hear me? Can we speak? Are we connected right now?
Yes, I can. Just unfortunately, my screen is frozen, but I can hear you quite well. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Well, then I guess I'll just throw it over to you. You want to do a quick introduction of who you are and your role, and then on the screen, which you can't see right now, but your contact information is listed there as someone to reach out to anytime. So.
Okay, great. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. So super excited to be part of your team, you guys. My name is Sonia Steer, and I live in Southwest Utah, so close to Zion, if you're familiar with that area. And excited to learn more about your business. And sure, you can see my contact information here. And I've only been on the program for about a month now, but I've had extensive experience with credit and with sales and really just supporting our clients. So excited to be here and to learn more today.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Sonia. I appreciate it. For everybody else out there that's on the phone, my name's Eric Breckel. I'm the relationship manager for the CCA Global Program, which you all are a part of as the Freedom to Ride program. And Sonia and I are your team here to support you in any way that we can. So if you have any questions, let us know. If you do have tactical issues, so some of the stuff that we're going to be looking at, Business Center here in a little bit, merchant support is who I would encourage you to reach out to if you're locked out on the Business Center, or there's some sort of pending application or something of that nature. We have a call center of folks that are sitting around with access that Sonia and I just don't have to cardholder accounts, that they'll be able to get you all squared away. But as far as program training, strategic type, how do we use this to sell more and help our customers? We're 100%. Let us know, as well as just any other random questions that you might not know where to go to. And then in addition to that, we also have the cardholder support listed here on the page. So that if a cardholder has an issue, you can give them the information. So without further ado, I will go ahead and jump into the two topics that were listed by Lacey at the very beginning of the discussion, the new application process, which I am very excited about. And I'm going to do a live demonstration for you here in a little bit, but there was some conversation that Lacey had or a statement that she made around using mobile apply in the past, so the ftrapply.com. What this website is our online application, our hosted online application. And there's a couple of different ways now that we have that we can access that online application, and there are different benefits for how a customer would access that. So when we think about your customer and why we had originally come to the table with ftrapply.com is because not everybody was in the store to be able to apply. Some people may be at home couch surfing and thinking about what they want to purchase, and when they're thinking about what tender they're going to use or how they're going to pay for it, there was a need to have a link for credit at that time. So we developed the online application, and because of that, we weren't able to see that customer. So there are different ways that we will interact with someone on the online application versus in your store, right? The traditional in-store application process. And as things, as the customer started to evolve from a digital standpoint, we found a need to deliver that online application in store, maybe over the phone to them if they're having discussions with you. And that's where we came up with the vanity URL of ftrapply.com, so that you could tell them that and they could go out and go on their own device, because that's something that they were wanting. The next evolution of that is we're able to take a lot of the advantages from our in-store apply process and apply it to that online link. So what I'm going to show you is, for in the scenario when someone is coming into your store and you're having the discussion with them, this is a way that you can engage with them that will send the link directly to their device, and it's going to be unique to that person. So there are going to be advantages to us on the back end and for your customer of being able to give higher credit lines and better approval rates, because you're verifying who that customer is for us in store, and they'll be able to use that link for up to 7 days after they leave your location. So I am going to shift to the next page just to give you an image of what it's going to look like, and put a couple of things on the side here for how you'd kick it off. But ultimately, I am going to do a live demonstration of this. And it is as easy as putting in your customer's email address and the amount of the purchase, and whether they're ready to apply immediately or if they want to take it home, they can do it with the comfort of their own device, which is feedback we've been hearing consistently, not only from you, but also from the customers. So I am going to pull up the website. We'll hop out. I'm going to demonstrate it on myself and send a text straight to myself and then get it going. So this is the Business Center. Lacey, can you see the Business Center? Did that screen toggle? Perfect. Okay. So right here, I'm emulating one of my friends in Fayetteville here, but this is what your Business Center is going to look like. So you're very familiar with the screen. When you come out, you click on New Application. Today, it says your program complete on this device. You can put in an employee ID and go next, and that's where you would fill out all the information for the customer. But this new process that we have, where you send to a customer's device, I can go ahead and just put in there william.breckel@syf.com, and then let's say I'm going to buy for $3,000. Literally just type that information in. I click send. It's going to email directly to my phone. Can you see the video of me as well? Am I showing up on screens on camera? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up because it's going to send to my email here in just a moment. I've got it. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is an email that I just received. And what's important is being able to see the green button on there, right? It's just going to send me the link. I go ahead and click on that apply, and it's going to pull it up in the browser. And because it's going to recognize my device, I'm actually going to have the option to be able to preload some of the information based on carrier data straight into the application. And when we get to the page, my internet, because I'm on here, is running a little bit slow. But when we get to the page, it's going to look exactly like ftrapply.com does today. It's just going to be able to show you the application process, which I'm sure you're familiar with, on their last 4 digits of your social and your phone number, and I would fill it out on my device. Let's pretend for some reason the customer that you're sending that application to, so that they can do it on their device, walk around the store, you can tend to other matters if you need to. If they don't have access to their email, let's say they're having some sort of issue, what you see on the screen is a QR code that's going to be unique for me as well. So they can just pull open their camera, pop on that QR code, and it's going to take them straight out to the exact same link that they'll be able to find in their email as well. So if they're having technical difficulties accessing their email, QR code goes straight out, they can fill it out. As soon as that application is completed, it's actually going to show back up in your check application status, right? So the name, I did not complete the application because I'm not applying for the credit card today, but if I did, it would say Eric Breckel right here, and then it would have information much the same that you would see when you do an account information lookup on the Business Center. You'd be able to click Start Transaction, and it's going to take you right on through. So in addition to all the advantages for your customer being able to do it on their phone, this is also going to put them on your customer list, which is huge. That's a huge difference between what you're doing today and what you could be doing tomorrow with this process. Is we're going to take all those customers that you're doing this process with, and we're going to list them on your customer list, and we're going to be pushing them back through our marketing to your store. So I can't tell you how strong that is to be able to put that into the marketing and push them back in for repeat purchases in the future. So I've been talking quite a bit through this live demo. I'm going to get a swig of water. Are there any questions in the chat? Lacey, any questions for me?
Not so far in the chat. I do, just to clarify for Freedom to Ride retailers, they get credit for these applications as opposed to Mobile Apply. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay, so that is one big difference that I want everybody to take note of. One of the things with Mobile Apply is, as incredibly convenient and great it is, you do not receive credit for that application. So it does, give you a possible exposure to that $40 minimum app fee, which is very rare, but it is important to get credit for those applications. So that is one thing that I wanted to point out with this new process, and it's just incredibly easy to use. And a lot of people are probably currently using it, but that's a huge reason to move from using Mobile Apply to this process.
Yeah, I would agree. Well said. It's good for you in that it gets you credit as the merchant, right? And it applies towards those minimum application fees you're talking about. The large majority of folks are doing way more applications than 4 in a month, but still it gets you credit towards that should you run near that line. The other major advantage is I go back again to your customer. How do they want to engage with you? This way really now rounds out all the ways that you can engage with your customer. Believe it or not, there are still people that want you to put the information in, right? You probably believe it because you're doing it now. When the customer is standing there in front of you, they just want to tell you their information and they don't want to have to engage with it. Then there's customers that are all the way on the other end of the spectrum that they're not even coming into the store until they're going to have this outlined. So they're going to do an application from their couch. And then there's the customer, which is a very large population that's in between those two and would prefer not to say their information out loud to you, but still want to engage with you while they're in the store right there trying to progress through the sale. And this process allows you to engage with them where they want to be met.
So Eric,
perfect.
a lot of our
Yeah.
retailers, just one quick question or something to point out. A lot of our retailers for Mobile Apply or for ftrapply.com, they would have a QR code on their price tag that would be on the bicycle. So what would your recommendation be if they were to replace that QR code? What would you recommend for them to have on that price tag?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have QR codes that are store specific. They're not going to be customer specific. So it's not going to be one that a customer would have linked directly to william.breckel@syf.com that would be able to be used 7 days later. That's going to pop up in your check application status, so those advantages wouldn't be there for that. But we can provide you a QR code for signage similar to what you're talking about here that is store specific. I just need to ultimately connect with you on what location you're at, or if you have multiple locations, then giving you the right QR code for each of those locations. And you can put that on your own custom signage or however you want to work through that. So this probably be a good time for me to pull up the PowerPoint again here just to show our contact information so that anybody, sorry, my mouse is not behaving right now. So that anybody that would want to reach out to us about that, please do. Sonia's information is at the bottom as well as mine. So please, if you're interested in that QR code and hanging signage or going deeper on this and doing some engagement with your location, then please reach out.
Great. That's a great strategy, I think, for those that are looking to very likely move away from mobile apply at this point.
Yeah, for sure. So I will move on from there. I think I see a question. DJ, it went away from me. Can you see it? Lacey,
Thomas
sorry,
is asking, what is the advantage to the in-store QR code?
About the version we were just talking about, or the
Correct.
Business Center generated one? It's what we do on the back end, how we're able to tracking on the customer, authenticating the customer, knowing what location that they came from. All of those things are going to affect our ability to approve more people, give them more money, and attribute them to you. So depending on which link you're using, you're going to see more or less of those advantages. The least would be over in the mobile apply space because we can't tie it to your store. We don't have that individual customer outlined as far as knowing who they are and having you authenticate them for us in store, all the way to the other end of the spectrum, which is when they're in store, you check their IDs, you're sending them the link directly to their email. We have more advantages over there. So it's a little bit of a scale, if you will. Did that better answer that question? We'll see, Thomas, if it didn't. Oh, perfect. Okay, it did. Thank you. I appreciate your responsiveness via chat. You are a faster typer than myself. So perfect. Well, I'll go ahead and move on to home network. So I'm sure that many of you have seen the card. If you haven't seen the Freedom to Ride card with Synchrony Home listed on there, that bug is on the bottom right-hand part of the card. So this is, I'll just start out at the very basic level. When you look at a credit card, what's on the bottom right-hand part of the card where the Visa logo is, MasterCard, that's called a bug, right? A credit card bug. It's the terminology that we use to identify what network that is processing on. We have our own network called the Synchrony Home Network. As you can see listed here on the page, well over 15,000 merchants that are in our home space, over 5 million cardholders that have a card that works on this network. It is a network just like Visa is, but this one is specific to home, right? So it's our home retailers that we have in our program aggregated on the same closed loop network so that they can use the advantages of going, if they're produced on a flooring card and then they want to go buy bicycles or home furnishings or something, they have the utility in that card, and we're able to tell them, hey, here's all the retailers that we have on our home network that you can use this card as. You are on that network. So not only are your cardholders able to go use it to buy other things for their home, which the CCA relationship is part of, but you're also able to receive customers that are on that network, and you're listed on our business locator so that those customers know. And what I generally get a question on around the network is, how does it work? How does the promotions work? Mattress Firm cards are on there, right? But is that Mattress Firm cardholder going to get the same promotions at your location? And what's important to know is that you drive the promotions as the merchant. So whatever you're offering and whatever promo code you are going to punch into the business center, whether it's 6, 12, 18 months, or if you want to do the longer terms that are part of your schedule, you can certainly do that as well. You are the one that's driving the promotions. Their card has the utility to work in your store, but it's going to follow whatever codes that you're putting in there. Just like if one of your card holders was to go into a mattress store and they were wanting to purchase a mattress, then they would drive the promotions at that location as well. So that's one of the basic things that I think is very important to cover. Some of the more intricate details of the network is the access that we have as a relationship. Lacey and other folks at the Bike Cooperative have to be able to market on your behalf to the customers and be able to push folks in there. We are constantly engaging. There are different assets that we have from a website perspective, offers that are put out there. We'll talk about the long-term financing and other promotions that are connected to the program, and be pushing cardholders to make them aware that you're part of the Bike Cooperative and that you have the program available and accept it in your location. So I have some other frequently asked questions in here, Lacey, that I tend to go through. Some of them are how to process, what do you do for multiple promotions, things of that nature. I can get into some of those. I don't know if Thomas or anybody in the chat has any questions, or Lacey, if there are any frequently asked questions that you hear that maybe you'd want to address first.
I think the biggest question that I've received so far from retailers is how you process the card. If it's processed the same way that they would process their Freedom to Ride card.
Sure, it's a really good question. So the card, going back to the network conversation that we were having earlier around seeing the Visa bug in the bottom or the Synchrony home, technically we are part of the Discover network with the home, so it's a Discover card. So if you swiped it in your terminal, it would actually throw up an error sign in there, and that's hopefully going to prompt you to then say, oh, okay, this is a Synchrony home card, let's process it in the business center. Because the correct way to process one of these cards is through your business center. So in the same way that you'd go out and you'd do a new application for a card holder, and then you'd click on process a transaction, you'd type in the total and the promo code. That's the same way that you would process for these customers. You just don't need to do an application because they already have a card. So I can actually pull it up if you want me to do a demonstration of this real quick. Lacey,
Sure.
you want me to? Okay. Let's see here. So this is, again, what it looks like whenever you hop in. If somebody walks in with a Synchrony home card, or they come in with a Freedom to Ride card and they're making a second or third purchase, you can go ahead and click on New Transaction. Yours is going to say Freedom to Ride in there, but you click on Purchase, and then you would just type the card number in there. If for some reason they come in, they say, hey, I have a Mattress Firm card or some other Synchrony home card. They say, I saw that you accept the card on the website, I don't have it on me. You can actually do an account number lookup and still accept. You're just going to need to check those IDs. So if that was the case, then you'd want to look up the account right here. But if they have the card right there in front of you, type it in, security code that's on there, expiration date, and then you would just move to the next part of the process. Many people are very familiar with this, but just to run through $1,000, right? You're gonna have the first and the last name in there, and then put in the 3-digit code. So if you're doing a 12-month invoice, you can put that on there if you are tracking that through the system. And then the transaction's approved, you'd print the receipts just like you do today, and they'll go to the local printer, get one of them signed, give the other one to the customer. So that's how you process the transaction right there.
It's
Do you
very
have any?
simple.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if you pull it up in the morning. This is one of the things that people bring up to me is logging in and the amount of time that it takes to get out there and do the process. And I frequently comment back, it's something that you need to encourage your staff to do every single morning or middle of the day or whenever they come in, is if they're getting on a computer to clock in, they're probably signing into other systems. this is one they should pull up every morning. I mean, it's just right when they come in, please log into it. It's already done for the day. And whenever a transaction comes in later, they can just hop out to the website that's already logged into it and click on new transaction and roll right on through it. So something I would strongly encourage, if your folks aren't doing that as a kind of an opening process, then they should consider doing so, especially because when they don't, they try and get on later, get locked out of your password, forget in the moment, somebody else tries to log in and locks the person out. That's when you find trouble. So if you do it at the very beginning of the day, it kind of removes that hurdle for you. So
Sure.
Let's see here. Another one that I get frequently is around multiple promotions. So because of the utility of the card, a customer can buy a mattress or some other sort of home furnishing, and then if they purchase a bicycle with you, they're going to have 2 or 3 or possibly even 4 transactions on that card. If you have a card and you go out and you look, there's what we call our promotional purchase summary. So on your statement, it's going to look like an Excel grid, and it's going to say Matt made this purchase on June 1st for $2,000, and then on June 10th he made a purchase for $1,000 at XYZ retailer location. And it's going to say off over on the side of the grid, here's how much he owes left on this particular purchase, and here's the date at which he owes it by, whether it's a 6 or 12 or 18 month. It's going to actually list all that information out there. So it's being as transparent as possible to the customer that they have multiple promotions. Here's how it's being applied, which is generally to the one that is going to expire first, so that you have the best chance to pay that promotion off. And he knows exactly how much he needs to pay by what date to avoid interest on those purchases. So that's a frequent one that I get whenever you talk about the utility of the card. It's just knowing that if a customer has 3 or 4 different promotions going at one time, there's going to be a detailed summary on how it's working. So yeah, let's see, look through some of my other questions here. I think identifying a home card is a frequently asked question. That black bug, that's a very important one. Just look for that. If it's got that black bug, you can take it regardless of what brand it is. So just look for that. Other advantages: 2% cash back on purchases under $300. That's a nice customer advantage, and they know that they're going to get at least 6 months with you. So yeah, I think that's all the frequently asked questions that I can see on my sheet here. So
Great. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Eric and Sonia, for joining us today to talk a little bit about the new application process and the Synchrony Home Network. Like Eric had listed on the screen, their contact information is there. And of course, you can give us a call and we'll hook you up with them as well. If you have any questions on this, please let us know. This is an important update, I think, especially as far as the application process goes. And the Synchrony Home Network is something that you've always had access to as a Freedom to Ride account. But the new application process is very important, especially as we head into the fall and the winter, and just keeping that in mind for sure. So again, thanks for joining, and glad that it was short and sweet.
perfect. Yeah, thank you so much.